WireMock's dynamic state is one of the most powerful features that the product has, and it's one of the most popular as well. And it allows WireMock to capture data from interaction and then use them later with a templating system. And while it's very powerful, it takes a bit of effort to take a stateless mock and make it stateful, and take a bit more understanding of how the system works. So one of the ways in which we can speed up this process and make it easier is to work with AI. So using WireMock's AI features through its MCP server. We can use our coding assistant of choice. I'm about to demo it with Cursor, but it will work equally well with Copilot, Claude Code, and any number of others that support MCP. What we can do is we can take an API that we've already made, maybe we've recorded it or we've prototyped it, and we can ask the AI to convert this into a stateful version of itself. So in front of me here, we have a bit of PayPal's invoicing API that I recorded earlier. So this is stateless and static. It will return the same responses for every request that I make. And we're going to ask the AI to upgrade this to make it stateful. So let's go over to Cursor. Like I said, we're going to use that today as our agent. I'm just using Cursor as an agent to interact with WireMock Cloud via MCP. So I have a prompt that I've made already, which is telling the Cursor agent, for this particular mock API, look at all the stubs and make them stateful. Just convert the existing ones. Sometimes the agent will try and overshoot a little bit. It'll get a little bit too creative and go beyond the remit of the prompt. So I'm saying only convert the ones that we have, and giving a few other directives around how to do it. And then finally saying that it must make test requests to the modified stubs and to only complete and report success when those tests have succeeded. And this is really important because when you modify stubs, particularly when you make them dynamic, there is always the risk that they stop complying with their original contract. It changes their behavior subtly. So what we're saying here, because we have an open API contract as well as the stubs in this mock API, we can use this to make sure that the mocks remain compliant. So let's kick this prompt off. It's worth drawing attention to this lookup documentation step here. This is this tool that's embedded in the MCP server that has detailed documentation for certain types of operations. So one of these is stateful stubbing, and so the agent knows to go and have a look at this and add it to the context when doing anything involving state, and we'll give some examples to the agent as to how to construct stateful mocks. So let's recap very quickly what's happened here. So it looked up some documentation to find out how to do stateful stubbing. It created some new stubs and imported them. It made some test requests to check whether they were working. It then pulled the request journal. So this is WireMock's request log. So I could go and have a look at the validation information as extra context to figure out how to fix things or whether anything needed to be fixed. It looks like it decided they didn't from the request journal, that things were successful at that point. Then it cleaned up after itself by deleting the excessive stub mappings, and then finally it finished. So hopefully now we can go back over to our mock API and hit refresh, and we should see we've still got these two stubs, but you see they've now been changed. Dynamic state's been switched on, and we have these template expressions here that are, in this case, kind of retrieving the state. If we go into the post stub, then we should see that there's a state operator to set to create something. And if we drop into this, we can see that it's constructing this this JSON payload. And hopefully we can go and give this a quick test over here. So this is the sort of portal documentation generated from the open API of the mock. I should be able to go and just post this example here. And it's given me a 201, which is good. If I go and find the ID field that it's generated, not that one. We want the main ID field, there we go. Let's go and grab that, and then we should now be able to go and retrieve that using the get endpoint. So we'll paste that into there, and there we go. We've retrieved the data that we just created, and we can confirm this by going and looking in the request log as well. So as we can see, we've got this response, and we can see that there are dynamic state events happening. So that's it in a nutshell. So just to recap, we've asked the AI to convert a stateless static mock API to make it dynamic and stateful, and we asked it to validate its work as it was going and to correct the stubs it was generating in order to make sure that they continue to comply with the open API doc. In fact, we can see here where it's made some requests that didn't comply and where it's corrected itself. And that's it in a nutshell. And this hopefully shows how using AI, transitioning to a stateful API is far simpler than doing this by hand.